Welcome, 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 everybody. It is noon p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, or whatever time it happens to be where you are, because you are watching us right now, February 28th, the last day of February, and you are with us on Ask Us Anything. This is where you get to ask anyone here in our community anything, and we're going to help you get through it. That is what we love to do, and that's every Saturday as a part of our Unlimited Wisdom program. And being that you are a part of our Unlimited Wisdom family, we are very appreciative that you are here with us today. Just to let you know, we're going to get started in just a moment, but before we do, if you have something to share or a question to ask, you can do it in one of two ways. Put the question in the chat. Very simple. We'll ask it on your behalf. Or the other way, the kind of better way, is to go ahead and raise your hand and we'll call on you and we'll interact with you right here on this Zoom. And that's very easy to do. Put your cursor in the middle of the screen where you see my face. On the bottom are a bunch of buttons. One of those is the raise hand button. Click on that and we'll call on you in the order in which we receive you. Very simple, and that's the way we do it. So, to get things started here on this amazing Saturday, Super Saturday, we're going to call it that today. Let's get it started with our GPSs to success, our hosts, and our dear friends. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Terry and Robert Hollis.
Well, thank you, Craig, the hostess with the mostest, and hello, Unlimited Wisdom family and community. I love you. Hello, Dustin, Mary, Lisa Marie. I guess Mary's cooking cookies. Yeah. Hi, Linda. Hi, Melody. And hi, Matthew and Brother Bill. And usually before, I usually cover like a little topic before we go into Ask Us Anything, and I'll make this really sweet. I'm going to continue to save my voice. One of the things that I know that is so important, but this whole concept again of whisper down the lane is just like, information passes from person to person to person to person. When people don't really, especially of the younger age, don't really get the understanding of whisper down the lane a game, then what I always say that, rumors. So when I was doing live trainings every Saturday, I always would talk about, how many people, when you go shopping, they always got the magazine. Terry used to read them all the time. The Us magazine, the People magazine, or any ones that else come to your mind?
In Touch.
In Touch, okay.
They all have the same shit in them, but not every one of them. So stupid.
But every I forget how many magazines came out that Jennifer Aniston was pregnant. You know what I mean? And it just like seemed like they always knew they could sell more magazines if they could put Jennifer Aniston on the cover saying that she had some kind of difficulty problem. And one of the things I think is really interesting is, of course, I'll bring this up a little more tomorrow, but it really, really blows my mind is that how much we take information just for granted instead of going back and finding out what the original stuff is, right? So this one guy was saying all the time, he was saying to me, and I've known him for years, and he's going, I'm just never going to ever figure this business out. And I said, well, first of all, your language says why it'll never happen. And me and Craig were talking about this at the beginning. A person either 1000% believes in personal development, that you can rewire your brain, that you can become a human becoming, that you actually, now there's, scientific documentation that you can change your personality. You can rewire your brain. But if you don't believe that, then you're not going to do what it takes to do it, and it doesn't matter anyway. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? And so the one key thing that I think is very interesting is that, in my search on a biblical side, I was sharing that with Terry today, is that, I finished reading the book of John and the Bible. And there was something that was, I know that a lot of you always have seen or heard the story about, the disciples all went out, they're all professional fishermen, and they all went out and they didn't catch any fish, and they came back to shore and they were exhausted. And Jesus basically told them, listen, just go out a little ways and throw the nets on the other side, and you'll get more than you can handle. Of course, they did that. And, that's a story in the Bible. But when I've heard that story, I've never ever heard that story that was after he rose again. So that was after, that he was in the tomb for 3 days, and now he's risen again. And I didn't know that he was that way for like about 40 days. So all of a sudden, when I read it myself and I see that it said that this was, when he was out among the disciples, I was going like, that's a big difference in him saying that to the disciples after he died versus when he was alive. Do you guys agree? And maybe it's just my mind, but again, that little thing. So another thing that I told Terry is that no one ever mentioned in the stories that they say about Mary, meeting Jesus after he was rose again, and his disciples. They leave out the part where every one of them that first seen him didn't know that it was Jesus. Do you guys find that just interesting? Again, I'll spend a little time tomorrow talking about this. But the people that were closest to him, when he got close to him, it says in the scriptures that Mary thought it was the gardener. Why did they leave that out of the story? Because I think that it would change the way we felt about the story a lot. It's like, all of a sudden you rise again, and the people that are closest to you don't know you. They don't recognize you. Doesn't this add a little extra curiosity to the story? Yeah, and so what I did is I was telling Terry, I'm going to dive a little deeper in this. So now I understand why doubting Thomas said, until I can put my fingers in the holes of his hands, or until I can put my hand in the side where he was stabbed with a spear, I'm not going to believe. Well, wouldn't you think that if doubting Thomas seen him, he would go, I don't need to do that? No, apparently what he was seeing wasn't what he believed. He wanted to see the wounds. So the only reason I'm bringing this story up is not to get too biblical, but just that there is this thing in the world that I'll leave you guys with. Here's the big close that I thought about sharing with you guys, is the difference between people that really get incredible results in their life are people that have faith and they don't have to see. Whether they believe in personal development, whether they believe in a book like The Greatest Miracle in the World. So like I tell people all the time that the reason that The Greatest Miracle in the World is my favorite book is because I made a decision that I needed my life to change dramatically. I wasn't going to live like this anymore. I'm done. That something radically had to change for me. But I made that decision before I got the book. So when Bill said to me, you know what I mean? Hey, you got to go get this book. You got to read it and then call me back. Then I just thought, why would he tell me that I need to go get this book and read it if this is not the book that's going to change my life forever? And do you guys understand that I made the belief, I made the mental thought or the decision within my heart and soul before I got the book? So when I read it, why wouldn't it change me if I had 1,000% faith that it was going to? So then doing the assignment of reading it every night before I went to bed for 100 days, why wouldn't I do this? It's going to radically change my life forever. and everything's going to change after I do this assignment. And it did exactly that. So the download I just got with you guys as I'm talking here is again the whole concept of love. You know, I have a saying right here on the wall that really just makes it just as simple as it is anyone who does not love does not know God. Just that simple. Anyone who does not love does not know God, because God is love. So have any one of you known someone or yourself love something or someone when everybody else said, I don't think that's very good for you? I would like to know all this stuff, or maybe I don't. I'd like to know about all the people that was close to Terry that when I was an idiot told me, you got to be out of your mind. This guy is, you got to find anyone better than him. And I even sit and think about what they would say. You know, he's married and has another child. Geez, can you find someone that hasn't been married that has no kids? Why this guy? This guy's like the ultimate loser of all time. You know what I mean? And it's like we can't explain that either, because that's love, right? It's like people are like, you constantly hear about all these relationships. I really think that you're in a cult. You know what I mean? Well, why? Because you love all these people and you love this person that you say has done so much for you. But, you know, I think that you're making the wrong move. So I just thought I just would share that with you guys, that, you know, it seems to be extremely rewarding for people that have 1,000% faith, and the word that I'm thinking here is they follow things through instincts and faith instead of sight. You know what I mean? And a lot of people probably don't trust themselves enough to just follow and trust their instincts. You know what I mean? Learn to plug into that miracle that they were created. Terry and I were talking, and I'll leave it on this, is, you know, of course, she still has a little bit of cough, and so do I. And if we're really so uniquely different with our fingerprints, you know, our DNA, our eyes, you know, everything about us is uniquely different than any other person that has been on this planet or will be on this planet. So that 400 trillion and one chance that you're alive, right? And then what we do is we always are questioning ourselves and want to know from everybody else what the real deal is going on. So when you get sick, wouldn't you believe that virtually everything would be uniquely different to how you heal versus other people healing? And then when you go to that doctor and you go to experts, right? And they all say, well, listen, what I would do is I would just get plenty of rest and drink liquids. He's a terror on the mic again. It's like, that's funny, man. So I hope that helped you. So that was just something I wanted to share with you guys. I hope that helped you, because, again, we're constantly looking for answers from somebody else other than ourselves. All right? So there you go, Craig. Got anything to add on that, love?
Oh my God, just that closing comment right there. No, I don't. I think that's just a mic drop moment. Let it sit.
Good.
Good. Yeah. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate that. All right. Well, this is Ask Us Anything. And actually, I do have a question from Melody, which I will get to in just a second.
Okay.
But just as a reminder, since it is Ask Us Anything, if you do want to ask and participate, she put a question into the chat, which I'm going to ask, or you can do that, or put your cursor in the middle of the screen where you see these lovely faces. On the bottom is a button that says raise hand. Click on that button and we'll call on you. Very simple. So Melody asked this question, Robert.
Okay.
Are you using billiondollarrun.com for peak and presentation, or are you doing the same as before we had it?
I'm doing the same as we did before it.
Okay.
And my reasons for that, Melody, is very simple. I seen Josh. He's trying to build a YouTube channel. And he took the little peak of interest video and put it on YouTube. I just haven't taken it yet and put it on my YouTube. But I'm just not interested in sending someone to a funnel, and then that peak of interest makes them put in all their information to set up for a time to watch a pre-recorded webinar. It's like, I know this is going to sound brutal, but it sounds like it just seems like, the new way of doing business is what we're all going to do is go back to pagers. You know what I mean? So get rid of your phone and start using pagers. And it's like, no. So me and Matt know this because we worked so hard on it, but the whole concept of the pre-recorded webinar through a funnel like Webinar Jam or ClickFunnels, this is something that me and Matt used. I'm not exaggerating. Probably in 2012. You know what I mean? 2011, 2010. Get his hat. Get his hat, Ezra. Hey, Craig, back to you.
He's got it. Look at that. He's got his hat. And going for more. Oh, how cute. How cute. All right. Well, thank you
I think
very much.
I welcomed Charles and Deborah Grady. I think I said hello to them. If I didn't, I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, you did just now. There you go.
Oh, okay. She said I did. Good.
All right. Fantastic. Well, Robert, thank you. Melody, thank you for the question. Appreciate that. Bill Shoemaker, I see that your hand went up. Let's go ahead, open up, and please share with us.
Brother Bill.
Thank you, Brother Craig. And yeah, incredible. I love the way you put that, Robert. It was like, are we going backwards in doing this? So, my question is about social media. I know that you're diehard Facebook connecting with people, and I get that, and I've been doing that. But how is the new AI, maybe this is a question for Matt, how is the new AI going around affecting us in that realm? Because I seem to get a lot of people commenting on everything that I post, and I say, you can't possibly be doing this much work all the time, 24/7. You know what I mean? So is that something we need to get around or get into as far as social media?
Well, the first thing that I'll say while Matt's trying to keep his hat on, but one of the things is, Bill, is that the way that I uniquely reach out to people and connect with them, even if they made a comment on my own social media post, I do consistently reach out and say something to them on a personal level or in my deal where their response is telling me whether or not they're a human being.
Right, right.
So I don't know how many comments you're getting, but me, I even getting over 1,000 of them for my birthday. There were a few people that the way that I responded to them, I could immediately tell that it was an AI. But still, probably 98% of them or even more were real people. And so, yeah.
Well, I reached out to somebody and said, are you AI? And he made a video and he said, hey, I'm real. But even though he's real, he could still be utilizing AI.
Yeah, but what it really
Right.
comes down to, Bill, is if you're asking direct questions that are seeing if they're interested in actually participating in what you're doing,
Right.
then it's
Right.
part of sorting for me anyway.
Right.
You know
Got
what I
it.
mean? So I just say to people, hey, listen, I recently started a new community that I know would really, really help you. And I'd
Right.
love you to be a part of it. And then I send them the unlimited wisdom link and my school link to Unlimited Wisdom Community, and then I see usually after that is not a thank you or that was awesome. It's just really simply something else that doesn't seem
Right, right.
related in any way. And so that person always gets the block and the delete.
Well, that's what I've been doing too. I've
Yeah.
had a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm excited. I've joined," but I don't see them. So they
Yeah.
just, yeah.
It really, really comes on. I'm going to talk a little bit about that tomorrow as well, Bill.
Yeah.
Because what people don't realize is how simplistic. I got two short videos I'm going to share with you guys. But one of them was Mark Wahlberg, and I will memorize this guy's name. That was the other guy that they've done a lot of.
Chris Pratt.
No, it's just another guy but they both had the Catholic ashes on their forehead and they were on The View. So then, Whoopi Goldberg just reaches out and says, "So what are you guys doing?" And I think that you guys will find it pretty interesting because they're on there for one reason. They're on there to promote uh Hello or whatever this app is for praying, right? So I think that you'll notice that why I want to share it is just how direct they are. You know what I mean? To either piquing your interest to get you on the app or not. And a lot of people always think that you have to be convincing. And of course, I know some of you have seen this commercial. It was on thank you, Deb, the Hollow app. But with all the craziness that's going on in the world, Franklin Graham, Billy Graham's son, had these commercials even on the Super Bowl that are less than a minute. And it's like, just how fast can you pique someone's interest? And it's either I'm not interested and it's a part of sorting. So people still have this thing within them, Bill, is that if a camera was on you 24 hours a day, are you spending time peeking and sorting, or are you spending time saying too much?
Probably saying too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I tell people if your voice message is over a minute, you talk too much.
Yeah. 50 seconds probably.
So because yeah, if they're not willing to take that first step or whatever, I think that it's pretty interesting because a lot of people probably have difficulty finding a mate because they talk too much. You know what I mean? So, the first thing is sorting and seeing if you can't possibly get, instead of being catfished, if you possibly can't get, someone to jump on some kind of uh yeah, it's Jonathan Rumi. Yeah. Is that how you say his last name, Craig?
I would think so, based on the spelling.
Jonathan
Either Rumi
Rumi?
or Roumi.
Yeah, maybe I'll hear somebody introduce him and then I'll use that. But yeah, he plays Jesus in all these things that are on Netflix. So The Chosen, thank you. But yeah, pretty awesome.
So reading The Greatest Miracle again.
Oh, awesome.
It's such an awesome story. I mean, chapter 9 was awesome, but the whole story is just amazing.
Yeah, because I knew nothing about the book and at a very, very, I would say, desperate time of my life. When I read that story,
Right.
it just like it just rocked me. It just totally rocked me because I still look at as a rag picker as someone that's very simply doing the principles of sowing and reaping.
Oh yeah. Well, you're the ultimate rag picker, brother.
Oh,
You are.
well, thank
You
you. And
are.
it's
You
like
are.
it's like I can see why my mentor, would say, "Hey, like I said to a lot of people, it would be interesting for me now to realize that he probably told a lot of people that they needed to go get that book and read it and get back to him. But if you guys know the whole story, is like I was seven generations deep on him. And, me and Mark Cassetta just recently talked, out of all the people that he had that was as close as 15 and as close as 7, the Knights of the Round Table, which I was one of them, there is absolutely none of them that have done what I've done in the network marketing world. And so it is pretty interesting, because I think I bought in more on the concept of finding people at the right time and giving them the info that they need to make that kind of change in their life, Bill. You know what I mean? It's like I'll give you a neat example of that. It's like, worship songs. It's like when you hear a worship song at the right time in your life and it rocks you to the point where you're just weeping and sobbing, don't you find it interesting, Bill, if you keep listening to that same song every day, it loses its effect?
Yeah. Yeah.
What does that say about us as human beings?
We wander.
I'm not trying to say good or bad. It's just that if a song or a book or a story, an inspirational story, hits us in a way where it makes us emotional, that causes that significant emotional event,
Right.
I believe that it's just like relationships. It's like sometimes you can be in a relationship and you have that honeymoon period. You know what I mean? Where virtually everything they do is cute and everything they do is funny. And then all of a sudden, it's not funny anymore.
Right.
And now you find yourself, looking at stuff they're doing and you start picking them apart. Because now it's like, yeah. And so do you say, how do I get back to that place where I was so excited or I was so emotionally connected to this worship song? How can I get back to that point? Or maybe it's just all, you seek and you shall find. Maybe it's to understand that that emotional event rocked you in that moment of your life. So why aren't you consistently looking for other things that rock you?
Mm.
You know what I mean? It's like,
Right.
it's probably right there is why people don't understand why people consistently go to church. You know what I mean? Probably because, and probably why they stopped going to church. Because I always use the word feed. There's a lot of churches that I've gone to, and when I went to them, I just wasn't excited to go to them anymore.
Yep.
They wasn't feeding me.
True.
I didn't get the, and man, I know this is a crazy switch here, but have any of you ever been really, really super excited when you got involved in a business opportunity?
Mm-hmm.
Then where does that excitement go? So you got your imagination, you're going, oh my God, this is a no-brainer. Everyone I share this with is going to get in. and then all of a sudden, everybody didn't get in. And the people that you wanted in the most didn't come in. You know what I mean? And then you got the naysayers, right? So when we're vulnerable and we're not at our peak enthusiasm and thesos, God within, then you run into somebody and it's not by accident, but then all of a sudden you run into somebody and they go, oh yeah, I was with that company, and when I found out that the stuff that was supposed to be in the product wasn't really in the product, I had to leave. And you're like, huh? There was something that I heard in Houston. Lisa Marie and I were there. And when I heard this, it was like one of those things of getting a New York Times bestseller. So when I paid like 40 grand to Brendan Burchard to have a best-selling book, right? Me and Max went to New York, hung out with them. And part of the deal is they were going to introduce us to individuals that would help us take my book to the #1 bestseller. And so when we finally sit in front of these individuals and they go, listen, we're part of this network that we all work together and we all have a certain day of the calendar of when we launch your book. So if you give me $35,000, my day is Wednesday. And what we do is we have all these channels that we'll put your book in. And then when that Wednesday come, we just watch the numbers because we can see them live time. And we can make sure that your book becomes a New York Times bestseller. It'll be just for a day, but at least you'll say it. As soon as someone explained to me how people became New York Times bestseller, it sort of lost its zing. I'm going like, wow. And I actually heard that one time from Tony Robbins. What Tony Robbins did to make his books best-selling books is when he launched a book, he would reach out to everyone and tell them that the only way that he would speak at their book is if they bought a copy of his book for everyone that attended the seminar, which is a pretty brilliant thing. So instead of, charging people $97 to go to a seminar, the company that he spoke for would have to buy 200 or 300 copies of the book, and then give it to people. So when I found out that that's how he did it, then all of a sudden it just loses its pizzazz, or all of a sudden you realize it's just not that big of a deal to do that, right? And so, excuse me. And so, when you find out the stuff about other things, it's like you're going, wow. So me and Lisa Marie are sitting there, and Mauricio gets up there, and how many people have heard that people patent things? I patent, how do you know that? It's also a slogan mark. He stood up there and he said a lot of companies that say that they have patents on their product have a patent, but it's not a applied patent. I'm going, I've never heard this. And he goes, you can get a patent on something that doesn't work. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. And he goes, yeah, there's companies that do not do an applied patent. They just pay a company to get them a patent, and they get a patent on a product, but they get it more on the name or some kind of slogan like I did. See, that's not a physical product. Are you guys getting this? So now they say, well, our product has patents, but an applied patent. An applied patent is an application that you fill out that needs to be proven that application actually does what it says it does. And I didn't know that there was different kinds of patents. Did you? So then what's the good news about a Munical product? They're applied patents. So they're applied patents that work. But now I would have a question if someone says, well, some of our products are patented. And you go, well, are they applied patent? What the hell are you talking about? I never thought that you could get a patent that doesn't work. I never even thought about it. Even though I have a patent on documentation beats conversation, does that phrase really work every time? I don't know. Have some of you showing people a lot of documentation and they still don't purchase the product? They still don't get the program.
Yep.
So, Bill, I always love when you and I have questions because you always pull some really good stuff out of me. So I appreciate you. You got anything else?
Well, likewise. That's it, brother. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So, love you too. You did pull something else out of me I want to talk about. Okay, do you guys notice where I constantly am telling you, because you're unique and you're a miracle, that you got to consistently ask what to say and follow your instincts. How many of you guys believe that a certain term to pique someone's interest might have really had some incredible results from it? And then that phrase no longer has the same zing as it used to. So back in the 1980s, the end of 80s, we were running newspaper ads. And we could actually say, hey, Bill, have you ever thought about starting your own business? In the late 80s, that was a pretty freaking powerful statement. Because, yeah, there was a lot of companies that might have been doing network marketing, but no one was doing affiliate marketing because there wasn't the internet yet. And there was a lot of people that were in jobs working paycheck to paycheck, looking for a way out. So for me to say, hey, Bill, I just have a quick question for you. Have you ever thought about starting your own business? Not really. Do you mind if I ask why? Well, I'm not educated and I don't have a lot of money in the bank. You see, there's really good reasons why you never thought about being an entrepreneur. I go, well, Bill, that's great. Because what if we actually came up with something, a business model, where you didn't need employees, you didn't need inventory, you didn't need accountant. It didn't cost $1 million like a McDonald's to get started. What if there was a business model that would allow you to be an entrepreneur and start your own business? And see, doesn't that sound awesome? How many people think what I just said to Bill would not fit in today's market? You reach out to somebody and say, hey, you ever started to think about being an affiliate? It's like, yeah, I'm an affiliate in a bunch of stuff that I don't share the link to. So, yeah, I just find that really, really interesting. So that's why you should at least get used to asking and looking at somebody and saying, you know, what would be a unique way of saying something to this individual? And if you really, really get great at it, which I know you can, Bill, it's like then you'll have the same thing that will be said when people ask you, Bill, you're bringing in all these consultants. What are you saying to them? And you're like, because they're unique and they're created by God and they're a miracle, I say something different to each individual. And people are like, that makes no sense. Now that makes all the sense in the world, right? So thank you, Bill.
Bill, thank you so very much. I think I don't see any other hands up or questions posed.
Anybody watching the UFC fights tonight?
We know you are.
I'm all by myself.
Deborah is.
Oh. Deborah's like, what?
Oh, you said anybody else watching the UFC? She said me.
Oh, my nephew is a boxer. That's right.
Oh, there we go. Aha.
Well, I love you guys. If there's no more questions, Matt, you got anything to add?
Nope. In general to Bill's question, like,
oh yeah.
I just was gonna say that it's gonna become really, really interesting over the next few months, like how they deal with the massive amount of AI and bot traffic and stuff, because it's just gonna get worse. So it's like either you have to have people like confirm that they're a human, right? Like it scans your face, not really that good, right? Because it's like, okay, you can't manually have a human check it. So then since you can't have a human check it, than an AI is manually check, or the AI is. And there's anytime that there's a one of those checks involved, it's pretty easy to like dupe them. You know what I mean? Like you can get past the face checkers, and so
So
that
you so
means
you ask AI how to fool an AI that's verifying you?
yeah, you can do that. I mean,
That sounds funny, man.
like if you want to, right? But I in general, I think it's like it's a really interesting dilemma. I don't really know how they're going to do it outside of you having some type of ID or social security number in the US or some type of identification saying like I'm a human. And that still won't stop what Bill was saying too, which is it impersonating you, right?
Right.
Like it you saying I don't want to have to do anything, so could you just message 50 people for me today? You know, that technology exists right now. So it's like I've said shared in the past, when the path of least resistance starts to happen, like most people don't want to reach out to 50 people a day, so they're going to say yes, yes, pay the $20 to ChatGPT, and then let ChatGPT message the 50 people like as them. I see that being like months away, and then it's going to be,
Yeah.
you
Then
know, it's going to
then
be crazy.
everybody's using AI to try to find people to connect with, and then it's like saturated. Now the real people have to come out of the woodworks again.
Yeah. Well, it's yeah, you put yourself in a position where it's like you know, what are you gonna, and I always think that this is the case. Like when people use AI, and I was even going back with Bob about this a little bit. Not that Bob's doing it, but in general, I think a lot of people use AI as a tool, or like as a solution to a problem, instead of a collaborator where you both learn the solution to the problem and collaborate on fixing it. You know, having it explain what mistakes were made or whatever it may be. And I think a lot of people, like, imagine you're an apprentice, or imagine you're going at something, and we've gotten just, I think, so used to just being like, do this for me, and then having it done. I think the more that becomes super easy, I don't know like how many different facets of life people aren't going to like really fall into that in. It's like
Right.
if you can just say, do this for me, do this for me. And it's like we can all say like, no, there's no possible way I'm going to be one of those people, but I think that the ease of it is going to be pretty drastic. So it's like I even find myself, right, now that I have Blue here on this computer, before I could ask, I would say like, hey Siri, put this in my calendar or whatever. Now I just say, hey Blue, like remind me tomorrow at 3 p.m. And then Blue just sends me a message and says, hey, it's 3, like do this or that, right? And as that starts to become everything, it's like now I'm not even scheduling anything anymore. I'm just going to be like dictating all of this stuff more than anything.
Thanks, Matt.
So I could see it being like this, Bill. It's like you sit down at your computer, you're messaging people, but you're doing it completely with your voice, right? So it's like, oh, that's great. What Beth said, say this back and forth, and it's just you going through her AI back to her, vice versa, and there's this like intermediary between people. And I think that's going to become more and more so the case, and that's just going to have to exist. And it's funny because like I see people going like, why would I ever want an intermediary between me and another person? Right? Like, what about connection? What about all those things? Right? Why would I forego that? And it's like clear as day to me, because I work with the technology all the time, that if you don't have that intermediary between you and another person, how are you ever going to know that you're not just talking to an AI? Right? So it's weird because it's like even the intermediary, you have to have a check and balance between like those things, because you could just be talking to an AI from the very get-go. Right? So it's like I wouldn't want Beth's AI to then confirm that message was from a real person and then only give those messages to me, right? I don't want any messages from AI. I just want them from human beings.
Mhm.
Well, okay, the only way to do that is with AI. So now you have to have an intermediary AI between the messages you receive and the messages that's the only way you can solve that problem. So then it's like in my brain, I just immediately, it's like the hardwire or it goes haywire with the thought of like, it's an unsolvable problem. And I don't know how you're going to kind of solve it without, yeah.
Well, like you
it's not a
said, like
solvable
like
problem.
well, like you said, well, if all of a sudden the government's just send me enough money to enjoy my life, then I don't have to connect with people.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But until then, I mean, like I watched the video. I sent it to Lisa Marie today, but I watched the video of Sam and Alec. I mean, Sam and I forget his name. Um, that
Sam
was
and Alex Hermosi, Sam
no,
Evans
it
and
wasn't
Alex
Al.
Hermosi.
Andrew Kirby,
Okay.
and they were doing the new news. The new school news that was out on Tuesday, and he was saying that they figured out a way that he said right now the most confusing thing is they have what is called automod. And automod is telling you the people that are leaving you messages in the community or leaving other people messages in the community that they need to be blocked. That's why they're blocking them for you. And he said 100% of the messages of people that are reaching out to us is they're saying you automated and blocked this person from leaving this message, but the message they left uh, looks like it's not a bad message. You know what I mean? It really looks like a human message, and they go, well, because we're blocking them based on who they are and our system, not based on what they wrote in a comment or in the community, because people are going like, that seems like a real human being, and Sam's going, it's not.
Well, yeah, and when you
but
have
but
a
if you
system,
but if you want, he said, at least click on and do a personal chat with them. But I'm telling you that we get to see who logged into school, what they're doing on all of school, and we can tell when people are not doing things that they shouldn't do. So then you see it in your back office and you see AutoMod stop them from making a comment to a person. And it's like, wow, I really enjoyed your comment. I really enjoyed your comment and I love being part of this community. And people go, well, that's a really nice statement. That's got to be a person, a real live person. When Matt's like giggling right now as I'm saying this, because it's like AI, Matt would prompt Blue in an AI to say constantly use stuff that would make you look and feel like a real person.
yeah, it's gonna become like just from my experience, like I don't think there's an auto modding tool in existence that's prepared for it. Like there's just you're being auto similarly to what I said. Like if the variable between you being messaged and not is AI, then that is not only like like I said, going to be necessary, but there's always going to be this back and forth between artificial
Yeah.
intelligence and itself when
Oh
it
yeah.
comes to like cybersecurity, hacking into people's accounts, doing all different kinds of things, right?
You
Because
find ways to stop them, then that person finds a way to beat that, and then it just is just a
but it's
constant.
imagine an ever evolving system,
Right.
right? That has no human involvement, right? So like you're now in a place where it's like it stopped this today, but then it has to patch itself so because variable then got hit, and now it's got to patch itself. How fast did it patch itself? Like in 10 minutes. It wrote the new software in 10 minutes, patched itself, and now it's trying to combat that. And then it just, the next one happens, and it's just back and forth, right?
Yeah, I
So,
know one thing right now that I would say with AI that I think that a lot of AI is always going to do is I think they're always, thinking of speed. You know what I mean? So if someone had a big platform like school that has 23 million, people on it and 190,000 schools, I can guarantee when someone launches an AI on a platform like that, it probably catches first where they're leaving the same message on a number of different uh, communities at the same time. That it's that quick and it's going like, a human being is not doing this. A human being's not, you know,
yeah. Well, there's
can't
like
go.
this,
Yeah,
there's a bot framework that happens, and like the bots that you're talking about that are getting auto modded, those are nothing like too new. Like that technology and shit has existed for a very long time. They've been
yeah,
writing articles on Reddit. They've been doing all this stuff for a very long time. Do you guys remember the Russian bot stuff that was going on
yeah.
during the elections and stuff like that, right? And China does this, and of course we do it too in the United States. But that's layer one. What I'm talking about is everybody will have a AI of their own just as sophisticated as Blue that will be capable of doing it. That that changes the game completely, because now you're no longer the conversation that the AI would have would be one of a very intelligent conversation, and ChatGPT can already get through all those barriers or captchas or everything like that, right? So now you're just kind of in a layer where it's like, hey, do this, and then it goes out, has the conversation, comes back, and we'll be so used to it, like Ezra won't even know what life was like without it, but we'll be so used to it, just as used to it as we are with our smartphones, just like using our voice and then eventually our thoughts, but using our voice and then just having shit happen for us, completely automated, right? And so it's definitely going to be different. It's been weird because I'm like a massive nerd. I've been playing World of Warcraft, which is a MMORPG. It's a video game, right? Since I was like 11 or some shit like that, right? It's like 20 years of my life. If I showed you like my played numbers, it's like I've lost whole total years of my life to this game. Don't regret it for a second. Still playing it to this day. Have great friends that I've known since I was a kid from this game. Anyway, the new expansion for it just came out like 2 days ago. I'm sitting here with my microphone, playing the game, going back and forth with Blue, creating a whole entire CRM software from my brother's company that does all this shit, and built like a scanner that scans residential things, has like a walk path for door knocking, writes it down, sends it to their phone. There's like, it's so advanced past anything that I've like seen. And I'm just sitting here doing what they call vibe coding. I'm just going back and forth with an AI with an idea. And as long as you have the knowledge and an idea. And so I even said in World of Warcraft chat, because it's like a game where everyone's playing it, right? And I typed in there and I'm like, does anyone use OpenClaw or anyone use this AI agent software? And there's a couple other people in there. And I'm like, the moment you use this, it becomes very real to you that work will just never be the same again.
Oh yeah.
Like
I agree with
anything will change. Everything will change very drastically. Because I'm like, isn't it weird how I can sit here and have a full work day and play video games at the same time and multitask, or be with my son and then have an idea and tell Blue, and then Blue will go off and build it and iterate on it and come back to me with like different changes, and I could say everything down to minute details, like move the header a little bit to the right or do this or that. And this is going to work with writing, film editing, building apps, it can already do that. Building websites, it can already do that. Just everything that you can kind of think of. And so then an immediate thing that comes into my mind is, who can I help with this? Like, yeah. It's weird because like for a long time you become like money motivated and you see shit very financially driven. But the moment you start playing with a tool like this, you immediately go, whose life do I want to change with this? Like, because the moment that you start using it and implementing it is the moment that, like, you give a person the opportunity to really do whatever they want regardless of their situation. And it's like very interesting because it's even going back and forth with Robert Hollis Jr., my brother. He can be like, well, it'd be cool if it had this, and then within 10 minutes it does have this, or it does have that tool, and it's a complicated software, right? It's not an easy one. So to just have an idea and have it show up is nuts to me. And there's not a single thing that I've said so far that it hasn't been able to create and develop. So it like it's drastically changed my life because instead of me now thinking about, and you guys have seen this, right? I know I'm going on kind of a rant here, but no one has any questions. So if you had a question, raise your hand. But in general, I just see everyone's lives becoming so much better because of this. And it's like everything that I've been telling everybody is going to come true. And I don't want to sound like Nostradamus. I joke with my dad. I'm like, I don't want to sound like one of these crazy conspiracy theorists. But that if you just work on your mind right now and your mindset and come up with ideas, the things that you want to accomplish, the things that you want to do, within months, you're going to have the systems that exist that can build that with just your voice and your ideas. And I feel like everybody else is so fixated on everything else that's going on right now. And this is like such a life, it's as much of a life-changing tool as the internet ever could be, and then some. Right. And so for someone like me that likes to tinker and change things, I actually had the whole entire, it nuked itself. Like, and it's going to be way more better now moving forward. We figured out what that problem was, but it kind of like nuked the whole entire, what I mean is deleted the whole entire website. It just didn't work, what I was working on. And what's crazy about it is I was able to go back and forth with it and have it rebuild the entire website from scratch based off of the pictures that I had sent to Hannah, my wife going, this is crazy, look what I built. And then it dawned on me, I can literally take a picture of any website or app and it can create it within minutes, duplicate it. So then my mind goes crazy. I take a picture of Photoshop. Could you create a app like Adobe's Photoshop for me for editing pictures? And it said in an hour, it absolutely could write a whole entire app like that. And it just blows my mind because then I go, why would I pay for Photoshop anymore? Why would I do that? And it just like, then my mind takes another step. What does this do to the economy when anything you literally want, a dog walking app, you could say, make me one specifically for my dog and for me in this path, and you would have something so specifically niche to you that why would you ever pay for another app? It's like,
and then you got when you go on these kind of tangents, these rants, I'm like going, what would be your answer to someone that would say something like this? You still know that 50% of the people in the United States don't have internet.
Well, we're working on that, like Starlink and everything.
It's like sometimes I think that
you also don't need internet to do this. You don't.
Yeah, it's crazy.
There's going to be a device that will be released that will allow you to interact with artificial intelligence through satellites anywhere's on planet Earth, and OpenAI is working on it. I guarantee you. That's what them and Johnny Ives, the guy that helped invent and create the iPhone with Steve Jobs, is doing. They're working on a device that can utilize satellites. That is, right now, it's just AirPods almost. That's the rumor. But that you would connect and surprise, getting closer to her. It's exactly what's in that movie. An earpiece, you have one camera here. You put on your lapel and you have an earpiece, and it can see everything you're seeing. Eventually glasses, but not everyone's going to want to wear glasses, right? So...
yeah, I just watching, just watching, because I've just dealt with so many people. It's like something could come out that could revolutionize everybody. I think that you could even advertise it is never be lonely and unhappy ever again. Just go here. So they don't need internet. The news tells them to go there. And how many people just won't see that message and won't do it? It's like, I think history has proven that regardless of what kind of thing can be created, there's still going to be a massive group of people, the majority of the people, that just are not going to do it. I don't know if they just don't have the
Yeah, well,
imagination.
I don't know why
I know,
you
I
need
know,
them.
I
That's
know.
like survival of the fittest, right?
Yeah,
Like I don't
I still know
I'm
people that
very
won't buy a new vehicle.
yeah, I'm very Darwinian when it comes to this, right? Like I'm survival of the fittest. If you're not
Yeah,
in a
Yep.
yeah,
place where you're educating
Yep.
yourself or growing as a person consistently, and then you're like, well, the world's passing me by, like that's your fault. Like
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
I'm also a huge personal responsibility person. Like
I
if
agree.
shit happens, if you feel like AI is passing you by, that's your fault. Every single thing that you're looking at me and going like, I wish I could do what Matt's doing. I learned this shit on YouTube myself.
Yeah,
I got in discords that are free and talked to people because I'm interested in it
Mhm.
about things that I was hurdles I was hitting, things that I was getting stuck in. And when I had wisdom to share, I did the same back. I went, this is a way that I fixed this. This is how we solved this. And now I'm doing that with Blue, and it's like it's interesting because I think I don't know. I deal with a lot of messages and a lot of people all the time that go like, please teach me or please work with me or do this or that or whatever it may be because they feel like a fear of loss. But it's like you really just have to get excited about what you want to create and know that the tool is going to exist to create it.
amen,
So it's more
amen.
about getting
It,
in
it,
that
it
than anything.
really, even though you're playing around with Ezra and having a blast, that was basically the beginning of my message at the beginning. It's
Yeah.
like, when it really comes down to where the rubber meets the road, or whatever kind of cliche way you want to say it, you either believe and act as if that this world's coming, or you don't. There's still going to be people that I think it's just so funny. It's like, well, until I see it, I am not going to believe it. No, you're full of shit because there's going to be people all over the world utilizing this and not only changing their lives, but changing lives of millions of people for the good. And they're still going to just be sitting there watching it happen.
Well, it's like I said, going back to survival of the fittest, right? I have no desire to carry somebody uphill. Like
Oh,
in my mind, there's times and moments in human history where you have the opportunity to really truly better your situation and better your life in a very permanent way. Like where technology makes a certain leap. Like imagine if you could get a website set up for dog treats when you're one of two. You know what I mean? And it's like what an opportunity that is, you know?
right.
And I see it that way. It's like there's going to be a ton of businesses that are going to start up once AI agents exist that will be run by only one person and a bunch
Yeah.
of AIs, right? And so then it comes down to how good can you delegate? How good can you get at ideas? How good can you get at iterating on those ideas and changing things when things don't work out? And those are going to become very, very strong skills more than prompting, more than coding, more
Right.
than anything. And so, like, and then I think the number one thing that people are going to deal with is just, frankly, just fucking laziness.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
totally.
how
Totally.
easy can it actually be at this stage? You know, because I always hear people say like how difficult life used to be, and yet things being easier doesn't seem to make them get off their ass.
Right.
No,
Yep.
it does not.
Yep.
Like it doesn't. You know what I mean? You used to have to go to a fucking library to learn things and check out the books and hope that they had them there. If you didn't have a library, you were shit out of luck. You'd have to
Yeah.
order the books what? From where?
That was
And
a
so it's like
classic. That was a classic Warren Buffett. It's like I think Matt, I forget the Hal, whatever movie you told me
HAL
about.
9000? Or are you
Yeah,
talking
it's
about
like
2001: A Space Odyssey?
yeah, it's the one where you asked the wrong question. It's 24.
Oh, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah. And
Uh-huh.
and when I look at that, it's like when Warren Buffett, everyone was asking him how he was able to do what he did. And he said, "Well, I went to the library and I asked a person called a librarian, if she had an idea and can check out what book in the financial section was people picked out and read the most. And she goes, I know exactly what book that is. Like someone wasn't smart enough or intelligent enough to go, what book are people reading the most out of the
Well, I mean
library
that
about?
I love that idea, Dad, because you could do that right now with an AI.
Oh,
And what people will do instead is they don't want to get the 5 books and go back and forth with AI and better themselves on learning
right.
something from the book and then engaging with their AI, so then the AI is getting wiser on what their plans are and what they're doing. And you get this back and forth going almost like a mastermind, right? And
Yeah.
you can do this with any book or anything that you want. No, what people would rather do is just use ChatGPT and say, could you just give me like the 5 best things that come from this book? It's like, in general, the more you use AI as a shortcut, the more that you're robbing yourself of the abilities that it has. And when you're taking a shortcut, guess what? Everybody else is gonna do the same thing.
Yeah.
What does that make you? That makes you a median. That makes you the average,
Yeah.
right? So if you're only doing average stuff with AI, then you're only going to be as average of it as everybody else that's using it, and eventually that's going to be a lot of people, a majority of the
I
human
I
race.
I
So
love Matt, not only when you go on your rants, but I love that you consistently push me to using AI in the right way. You know what I mean? Instead of just asking its questions. Because now that it knows a lot of the things, again, that's when I think some of you, I don't know if you guys do this, but I'm like Matt now. I don't ask it a question, I talk to it. And just some of the stuff that I talked about today and what I talked about tomorrow, it's like the whisper down the lane is I've always had that phrase is how do you know that? How do you know that? And if what you know that you know that you know isn't so, when would you like to know? Just because I sort of challenged myself and started me personally going through a bunch of different versions of the Bible. It's like I'm really excited about stuff that I now know that I never knew. And it's like why did they leave that out? You always wonder. It's like when we're listening to um, Outwitting the Devil.
mhm.
There's not a chapter that we go through where Professor Dana doesn't say, well, again, in this part of the audio book, they felt like they needed to leave this out. So how many versions of everything that's out there is out there that, because it went from one person to another, to another, to another, to another, and not to be sacrilegious here, but I'll just say this to you guys. I used to be able to mess people up or still can. And I'll go, like, what do you think is the best Bible to read? And they always say the King James Version, that's the closest one that you're supposed to read. Well, again, how do you know that? Well, because someone told them that was the. It's like they've never done any scientific research or knowledge to find out what the very best one is. And I said, would you do me a huge favor? And I know me and Matt's gone on this stuff all the time. And I go,
Yeah.
so what is the title of the book? And they go, what? And I go, give me the title of the Bible. And they go, King James Version. I said, there was never a part of your mind or your heart and your soul that said, while you read that and thought that that was the original, when it says the King James Version. And it even tells you, and it's a version. Here, I want you to really be smart. Who do you think commissioned this version? Well, let me ask you another question first. What color is George Washington's white horse? White. So there was a king out there that all of a sudden made a decision that he was going to have the best version. And when I say that stuff, people get mad at me because I've really noticed the older that I get, Matt, like probably a lot of stuff that you say is people are uncomfortable with the truth. People are really uncomfortable. And so when you start talking about AI And it's like, listen, I'm just telling you, it's coming. It's coming. I think you need to take personal responsibility and figure out how to utilize this in your life. And it's like people are, like you said, the FOMO. And it's like,
Well, because like
yeah,
I love what you're sharing, Dad, but like that, I think the normal response that people have is fear, right? Like
it is.
they don't see it as like a celebration, or they don't see it as like an opportunity or something like that. They just fear like they're missing out. To be honest, you're not missing out. The thing that you're worried about is wanting to take advantage of something that in reality you would miss anyway, because like you're just not engaged at that level anyway. So if you were engaged at that level, then you'd be playing in that space and you wouldn't be asking me that question. If you're not engaged at that level, then you have to ask yourself, what does engage me? And work back and forth with your artificial intelligence to find that out. Build a plan, figure it out. Like,
Yeah.
really start to, and you don't even need AI to do this, it just superpowers it. But like, sit down and write the shit down that you really want to accomplish over the next 3 to 5 years, the things you want to create, the places you want to go, the things you want to do, and then feed all that document into AI and go, how do we get this going? What things do I need to do to accomplish this based off of where I'm at, right? Reverse prompt it. Ask it to give you questions,
Right.
right? Like, a lot of people don't do this either. It's like, because they see it as like a machine, right? And it is, right? But at the same time, there's so much value that you can get out of it by doing something called reverse prompting, where you ask it to write the questions that you should be asking it, right? And so it's that age-old thing. It's like, what question, you talk to a billionaire or something like that, and you're interviewing them, and it's like, what's one question that you wish more people would ask you?
Love that.
You ask your AI that. What's 5 things that you wish or you think that I could be working on that would make my life better? That would make my life
I think
easier, smoother.
addressing the fear is too, because like when I was talking about what I was talking about today, Matt, I asked AI that. I go,
Mm-hmm.
not I never ever say like in your opinion, but with everything that you've gathered and the time that you've been in existence, why do you think this is left out? Why isn't there ever been any emphasis on this?
Mm-hmm.
And the stuff that I talked about today, and also I'll talk tomorrow on more of a spiritual level, is that people have a big difficulty with mystery. If you put something in a sentence that people do not understand, then they immediately become critical and judgmental instead of imagining what if.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if all of a sudden you mention something where now they can't use their logic, well, then they just disbelieve it. They just immediately just disbelieve. So now I understand why a lot of things are left out of a lot of things. Because it's this
Right.
human nature that want to understand. Like, why didn't you use Paul Revere's name when you were talking about, well, because it didn't rhyme with anything. Well, I don't care how many people you tell, that Paul Revere wasn't the person that went to every city and village to say the British are coming. It's weird when you see people go, okay, I'm going to Google that, like I seen Mike Dean. And then Mike Dean sent me a message and he said, don't you find it interesting that when someone gives you the truth, that there's still this part of you that doesn't want to accept the truth?
Yeah, or there's this part of us too that's grown, because there's like this key part, and I've noticed this in myself, and I've tried to eliminate it as much as I can, to be like right, even though the information is not our own. So it's like, just to stuff it to somebody and be like, no, you were wrong, but it's like, you didn't know the information yourself, you're just looking it up. So now that you do, you don't really need to go back and say, no, you were wrong. Next time they bring it up, you could be like, I actually looked that up and found this to be the answer myself, right? And I think in a lot that just it really bothers people to not
It
have
does.
not be able to be like, hey, I'm gonna stick it to them and tell them they were wrong, right? Like this is the way it was, and it gets so bad. I'll share this. I think it gets so bad where people their own failures are. I'll see people have extreme failure, and their reaction to it is like to go tell their parent or go tell like their spouse or go tell someone like off, you know what I mean? Instead of
Yeah.
going back to the personal accountability aspects of it, right? So
Yeah.
it's like I don't know. It's interesting too because I'm very curious the more you feed into AI and the more we use it, how much of that it'll be able to stop, you
Well,
know?
and also,
Like the awareness of it.
yeah, almost, and I just realized it's 2:15. We'll let people go here.
Yeah.
But in a closing statement, it's like how easily we become influenced by stuff that's just trying to get our attention. And then once you get influenced by it and you sort of get bit into it, and then if you ever ask yourself a question, me and Matt were talking on a totally different political aspect, but yesterday just overhearing a couple of things that, so Bill Clinton was interrogated, and then they asked Trump what he thought about it. And do you guys really find it interesting that both Bill Clinton and Trump both said that they believed that either one of them didn't do anything? And I'm like, there's just a part of you that goes, how much bullshit do you really believe that a person can handle? So one guy, Hillary's just basically saying, that's a great question for my husband. That's a great question for my husband. That's a great question for my husband. Yes, Epstein has, been to the White House 17 times, but I've never met him. I don't know.
Pictures out of it.
And then they can say, well, what do you think about Trump? And it's like, well, without a shadow of a doubt, Trump never had anything to do with Epstein. And then you ask Trump, well, what about the interrogation the Clintons are going through? Why? He goes, I don't believe that they should be going through that. They didn't have anything to do with them. And I'm going like, when people higher up the arc are trying to tell the public that the friend that they hate has nothing to do with it. So Matt was like going, I'm done with this stuff. It's now very
I
obvious.
checked out. I'll share my 2 cents on it, but like
Yeah.
I checked out on it in general because like I'm just sick and tired of lack of accountability in general. Doesn't matter where it's from, what side, and to politicize child trafficking and sex trafficking, I think is obviously like to a certain point it defies politics and speaks on the morality of a culture. You know what
Right.
I mean? And like I'm now of the mindset that like there's really nothing you can shift and change because the culture itself is sick. There's
Right.
if they're willing to fight about those types of things being true or not in general instead of investigating them as a culture, then I just think that's stuff you shouldn't even be debating about. It should be a
Yeah.
slam dunk no brainer, and then it should just be so that's where
And
it
we-
ends up
And
becoming
we all know that they're all going to get locked up.
No.
See, that's when you really go, what the F? It's like even the stuff that's happening in Europe, they're basically saying that Andrew gave Epstein secrets about the military and stuff. Like he's not going to have anything to do with the child stuff. It's like, so I'm sorry I brought that up, but I just like,
no, it's okay.
that's when you really, yeah.
Big fat fucking lie.
They
Just-
if you really truly believe that there's a large group of people out there either red or blue that's in it for us, I just think that it's becoming more apparent to even the people that have bid in hook, line, and sinker. They used to be influenced by just saying the other side's bad,
Yeah.
and now all of a sudden it's really starting to get down to a point where people that have lost their shows for saying bad stuff now have podcasts, and now you get to really see what they mean.
Well, it's crazy too because like you see
It's
this as
like
a human
what?
being, and I'll say this too because I hope with AI and AI agents that it's going to solve this because I think it really taps into the creative aspect of human beings if you allow it to, and the thing is over the last less than a week that I've really been working with my own AI agent, I don't know what the fuck's going on in the world.
Yeah,
And when I talk to Hannah, she doesn't either because she's been writing. She's got a story that she's been writing and working on for a
that's
while.
cool. That's
And so
cool.
it's like both of us now are not sharing, hey, did you know that Iran was attacked or did you this or that, which I would have been because neither one of us care anymore. Like we're
Yeah.
very much in like a, and I see it bother me to a point where like I carry this energy with me. So like if anything, just detach from it and be creative. Go read a
Yeah.
book
Yep.
or write or paint
Yep.
or do something that allows your mind to be like free of it. And you get used to like I don't know, you get used to not having it around. Like
Yep.
even when you brought up when we got on here and you went, did you know like they've already bombed our I didn't know that they had attacked and I definitely didn't know that they had already killed the guy.
Right.
So the
Same.
moment you said that, my brain immediately went, "Holy shit!" Like I didn't because
Yeah.
I was going back and forth with you maybe like a week ago, going like I think maybe the next 2-3 weeks I've heard that we're gonna attack and that's gonna happen, and then it's like ever since I've gotten involved in creating stuff, it's just brain silence. It's like my
Good.
brain just does not
I I think that
care
Turns your
anymore,
brain to
right?
mush.
I think that's a beautiful place for us to end.
Yeah. Well, let's all get there and help
Yeah.
each other stay there. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like as a community, I think the drifting part and outwitting the devil is perfect because and I'm gonna make I would love to make merch and release merch. I know I've said more merch, but I would love to do something with outwitting the devil and some of the stuff when we're finished with it so we can wear it
Yeah.
with us and
I
remind
believe
each other not to drift and not to
Right.
I believe like a lot of stuff that we do, Matt, and we got a great family here. Uh, the word drifting is not setting with me. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Sort of like ritual. You know that
Is it because
that
of
we
racing?
what?
Funny.
Just drifting. I said, is it because of racing?
It is. It totally is.
Hmm.
So so
That's
you
the
know
first thing I think of when I hear drift myself. So
yeah. I see a car, flying sideways with, them doing their best to burn the tires off. It's like,
yep.
but I know and I believe when we complete this, that we all can come up with a word that when you say it, and believe it or not, it was a sound that Bill created. It was
Hmm.
just a sound of an alarm going off. So, you'd see somebody doing their very best to answer a question for somebody. And then right after they'd had the question, they had another question. And there would be someone in the room that would just go, woo, 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 woo. And everybody would look around
Let's make
and then
it.
we would all look for the person that's wasting their
I'm like, please don't. Let's definitely not make it the Apple alarm because that shit's a nightmare.
It's annoying.
Yeah, but no,
So
that's great. I think that's awesome. By the end of it, I agree. In a sense, too, like that's what I love about the Unlimited Wisdom community is that we're not only going through the material and sharing ourselves, but I can't wait to hear like people's total outcomes of the things that they've learned from it
yeah,
and stuff. And then
because
to
it's
pick
it's
what we do next because like honestly I don't want this to stop, I'm like what
well,
are we
it's
tackling next,
yeah,
Right. Yeah.
when I first got exposed to the cult that I got involved in, personal development 40 years ago,
Yeah.
it really truly all came down to just one thing that I didn't know that I didn't know. All Bill was someone that got exposed to somebody else that got exposed to somebody else. And all of a sudden there's these group of people that are like, hey, did you know this? And it's like, what? 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 I mean,
Right.
just the little concept that you probably could share with the majority of the people on the planet is that, you do know you hear what you say. What? Well, your brain stops to listen to what you have to say. So you better be careful what you're saying to it. And it's
Mhm.
like, I guarantee you, there's a group of people that would fight me to say,
And
but now we got
I
people
was one
like,
of those people
yeah, then
for
we
a
got people
while,
like Dr. Amen, you know what I mean? That now they're not only mapping the brain, but now they can do it live time. And
Well, the
so
thing is too
now
is like
now there's a live MRI on
yeah.
your brain, and they go, okay, so here's a picture of Ezra, and your brain lights up in different.
Mhm.
It was like, well, wait a minute. I just told you something negative, and you can't even remember what that negative thought was because we showed you a picture of Ezra. But it's
Right.
like, okay, so how can I use this, like you said, Matt, use AI and all the new stuff? It's like, listen, I need a pattern of information or music or
Well,
songs or
yeah.
whatever it is that just can immediately kick me into this creative spot where I can
Hmm.
constantly be creating and doing great things for people.
Yep. Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think that when you get in the flow and you get in those moments, then it makes, especially with where the world is, it just makes life a lot
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
And in general, like I don't know, what don't if personal development's your shit, if religion's your shit, if spirituality is your shit, if being Wiccan is your shit, and that makes you happy, like I'm maybe it's just because I'm 34 now, but like I truthfully feel like why get in anyone's way of being
Right.
happy?
So
Do
Like
you?
true.
Do you?
and the more that you like start to think about getting in other people's way of being happy is like a massive reflection on how unhappy you personally are at
Right.
that moment in
Yeah.
time. And so anytime I'm going with envy or hate towards anybody else for what they're doing that makes them happy, and this even like my older brother goes to church every Sunday, religious. I I didn't really grow a relationship with him as much over the last few years out of the thought and perception that that would be a massive part of the communication, the stuff we talk about. It's not,
Yeah.
right? Because the truth of the matter is like when you work with people and you respect people, it's like, oh, he doesn't feel the need to talk to me about it because he knows I respect, unless if it's important to him, and vice versa. Like I'm not going to do or say anything because of that respect, that mutual
Yeah.
respect. And so like it's weird because I almost feel like sometimes I'm coming on here and sharing with you guys like basic human things, but they're developments for me, damn it.
They
So,
are. There's
anyways, I'll
nothing.
let you guys go.
Yeah, there's nothing that will get your head straighter than a brand new addition to your family.
Yeah.
I remember like it was yesterday that when you were born and also when Darce was born, and it's like you're looking at everything in the world through their eyes, watching
Hmm.
them learn, watching them figure out stuff, and it's like you're very, very attentive of making sure that they have the right things that are coming into their brain. And
Yeah. Well,
there's
you become,
generations that grew up and said,
you've,
well, just make sure that you put them in front of the babysitter like cable guy.
yeah. Well, it's like the fearful part of your brain, what I've realized since becoming a father is that it just shifts.
Yeah.
It jumps. So instead of it me being fearful for myself, now I'm just fearful for Ezra.
Yeah.
So
Now,
now it's
see?
like,
See?
no, now I get it, mom, right? And so figured it out. Just had to have a kid of my own. But
Right?
but
All right.
no. So like when it's like, "Oh, I'm scared to do this thing." It's like, "Will this benefit Ezra if I do it and my
Right.
family?" If
Yep.
it's a yes, then get my shit together and do it anyway.
Yep.
Yep.
If it's and that's the fear change, right? Because it's like I don't want him to be fearful or deal with things that I chose because of decisions I made. You know what I
Right.
mean? To be
Yep.
fearful.
Yep.
You,
So
you you probably remember that statement that I always said. It's like when I really always thought about myself, it was like you know, it's sad to say, but because of the things that happened to me when I was young, it's like I could be perfectly happy sleeping on a park bench. I really could. But when you have a wife and kids, it's like I'm not that guy. It's like all of a sudden you don't think about what would make you happy. It's like I don't want Terry ever to be homeless. I don't
Well,
want
it
my
makes you happy to see them. It makes
I just
yeah.
room.
Yeah, the balance becomes that, absolutely, like you're saying. It's like the people that are in your life, how do you make them happy? Like
Yeah.
how do you make them feel like the truth of the matter is like you just start to take on shit just so they don't have to, like
Yeah.
emotions, thoughts, certain things, and it's like I'll carry this myself, the burden of this necessarily, and then they don't have to. But like I think that's part of life. That's part of being like a parent. Like every single time you make a decision, like I still have friends that are not married and don't have any children that are my age, right? My younger brother doesn't. But in general, you see certain people and you'll be like, "Man, all the stuff that you have on your plate now, all these like obligations that you now have." And not my younger brother has never said that to me, but some of my friends have, and it's like, how do you deal with that? And it's like, I get to.
Yep.
Like every
I don't
decision I
have to.
make, going back to personal responsibility, I get to. Don't you understand that I don't have to sit there and listen to some podcaster ramble about finding a good woman and starting a family? I've already done those things.
Yeah.
While you were thinking about doing them and talking about I did them.
Yeah.
So like that's the thing is like, and it kind of just happens, but you gotta allow it to. So I'm gonna leave you guys with that.
Thank
Love
you,
guys
Matt.
so much. Love this community. Thank you guys. Thank you, Mom and Dad. Thank you, Craig.
Thank you, Matt.
So,
Wow. I hope everybody enjoyed that.
That was good.
That was really, really good. A great way to end today's Ask Us Anything. I mean, that's just life. Bless
Yep.
you. Bless you, Matt. Thank you so much, Robert, Terry. Shout outs to Melody, Bill Shoemaker also for participating in today's Ask Us Anything. If you want to save some of the chat, go ahead. It's very easy to do. In the chat, click the three dots in the meeting chat, and then click on Save Chat. It'll download to your computer once we finish here. And thank you all so very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be part of Ask Us Anything. Tomorrow, as Robert has shared, that we got a great topic headed for you. Noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, The Master's Mind. And then Monday, recess, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. We look forward to seeing each and every one of you in our groups. Don't forget to take a look at the calendar. Something scheduled every single day for you.
And
We love
if
and
you're not
appreciate-
and if you're not a premium member, you're really missing out. Just what happened today.
This is premium
Yep.
members, so the other people won't see it.
Oh.
Yeah, unless we decide to make it available to everybody.
Hey, you got to do that on Daily Wisdoms. Okay.
Love and
Bye,
appreciate
everybody.
each and every one of you. I'm going to go ahead and unmute so that we can all say so long. Have a fantastic weekend.
Have a great weekend,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye, Linda.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Melody. Thank you, Dustin.
Bill.
Thank you,
Bye,
Deborah.
Love
Melody.
you.
Thank you, Charles,
Craig. Bye,
Matt,
Terry.
Love you all.
Brother
Bye.
Bill, Craig, the hostess with the mostest. Love you.
Yep.
See you guys. Bye.